Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Mimi. If you came for some Reddit stories and some Minecraft gameplay, you're in the right place. Today we're reading the Reddit thread, "What's the worst thing someone has ever done to you?" So if you're ready, go ahead and grab yourself a drink, a blankie, and buckle up. Our first story is from the Redditor, "I love my cats so much. My parents divorced when I was 7. It's because of my dad's affair. My father remarried and got a new family. My mother stayed single and bitter. She still loved him. They always argued about whose turn it was to have me. They were trying to spite each other. But the only thing that actually happened was that I realized neither of them must have loved me. One Christmas Eve, when I was 14, they were having the same argument. My dad and his new family were staying in a hotel and told my mom that they hadn't booked a room for me. I walked to my mom's and she said it was my dad's turn to have me and locked me out. I slept in a car park fire hose cabinet. It didn't even have a fire hose in it. I was so scared and cold. I was a skinny kid, and I knew I couldn't ask any of my friends to stay because it was Christmas Eve and already close to midnight. I started to cry when the snow started falling around 3 a.m. I wish I had known back then that I could have called the police, but my juvenile brain didn't know that. I went to live in a children's home shortly after that, and honestly, I loved it. I'm 35 now, and I'm a woman. My mother actually lives with me now. I'm a forgiving person. I wasn't as forgiving with my father because he replaced me. He tore me out of the children's home when I was 15 because he was embarrassed. His daughter lived there. He had gone from living in a 1-bedroom apartment to a 5-bedroom townhouse. But he put me in what basically was a Harry Potter room. Glass door, no privacy. You'd bump your head walking in. I left and went to live in a hotel. When I was a bit older, my father bought my mother out of the 3-bedroom childhood home. She bought a 1-bedroom flat. That's when I knew I wasn't welcome anywhere. So I called social services and put myself into care. That's heartbreaking. You know, when children are growing up, it's so important and vital that their family is there to nurture them and help them grow. Being abandoned all because your parents couldn't love each other anymore is just so sad. Children are the manifestation of a couple's love at the end of the day. And yes, you know, not everybody ends up wanting to stay with their significant other, but when you throw your child in the middle of that out of spite, you are just a horrible person because that child did nothing wrong. That child deserves love and compassion. Our next story is from Toasted Pineapple. My stepdad stole 2 houses, 2 cars, a scooter, and a boat from us when my mother died. Then he committed perjury, told the judge he was broke because he'd pay me and my sister $60,000 each. That got him out of a loan from my aunt, who had loaned my mother hundreds of thousands so she could buy a house. He did so much financial acrobats that I didn't even get my own bed or clothes back. He ended up with everything that could remotely be called my mother's property. Altogether, he stole upwards of €500,000. Not just from family, but from his ex-wife too. Then, that same ex-wife, who he got back with later, also died, and he took whatever was left. My lawyer told me I couldn't do anything. Honestly, I think he married my mom and killed her, and the same with his ex-wife. That's definitely, fishy. That's very concerning that, you know, he made sure that you didn't even get your bed or your clothes back. The complete and utter disregard of the woman he suspectedly loved, her children just being thrown out with nothing. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, and hopefully he'll get what's coming to him. Okay, so our next story is by SquigglePig52. Not exactly the worst story, but still. I had a close friend who, in the space of a week, decided I was the Antichrist. She told her neighbors I had been stalking her, contacted my employer, and said the same thing. A few months later, I found a bin of her stuff she had been storing in my condo, decorating supplies and things. So I dropped it off at her door while she was out, with a note saying what it was, and that there wouldn't be any more contact. A few days later, police showed up at my door. Apparently, dropping off her stuff was harassing and stalking her. I explained my side, showed the nice policewoman all the emails I had saved, showing that yes, we had been friends, and no, I wasn't stalking. In the end, the police gave her a warning and a misuse for 911. In the previous video, we talked about stalking stories, which is ironic that another one has come up. I don't think a lot of people contemplate the amount of people who lie about stalkers. Now, there's people who will say, someone's stalking them if they really just want to, get away from them, and maybe they didn't take the hint. But there are quite a few people out there that will lie and say someone's stalking them too. I'm glad she got reprimanded by the police because come on. You dropped the box off and you left. I mean, at least you didn't like come back multiple times and go to her job and tell her coworkers all of the stuff that she was doing. Like, she's the one who did stalking. Alright, so our next story is from Baby Blue. My mother was a malignant narcissist. She psychologically abused me, beat me down so low that I never lived up to my full potential. I know it's cliche to blame your parents when you're grown, and I've worked really hard to get further in life than most people do, but I know I could have been so much more. Today, I'm 72, and I'm still moving forward. I have 2 nice homes, my own business, and friends. But in the years that it took to heal myself, time wasn't on my side. I could have had the career I wanted if I hadn't listened to her when I was young. I could have had a home and a family if I hadn't been warped by her cruelty. Those are the things you have to start young at, and I didn't get that time back. I blame myself, but I still congratulate myself too. I've managed to bring myself to a place where I'm happy and secure. I have a good life now. Growing up and spending most of your life trying to heal from the snippet of childhood has to be one of the worst canon events that a lot of people have. Because when you're a child and you're growing up, those years are so important when you learn how to operate in the world. And as you get older, you eventually have to undo a lot of the damage and work for years. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that with your mother, and I know that growing up with a narcissist mother is one of the worst things a child could go through. Our next story is from Laughable. Where to start? My mother died within 4 hours of going into hospice. It was around 7 p.m. when she was admitted. I found out the next morning she had already passed. My brother, who I wasn't even speaking to at the time, called me to tell me. He said she went into a coma within minutes of arriving in her room. My aunt was notified the night before. She got on a red-eye flight and arrived about 6 hours later, but my mother was already gone. 3 short months later, my aunt calls me. She says, "Your mother was calling for you when she was dying. She kept asking why you weren't there. Why didn't you come for her?" Then she kept pressing me, asking how I felt about that. I just sat there in silence wondering, what kind of conversation is this? What's the truth here? I hung up, called my brother, and flipped the heck out. I asked him what really happened and told him what my aunt said. Seriously, who does that? Who says that to someone grieving their mother? Yeah, who does say something like that? Like, it'd be your own family that just, like, sits there and just traumatizes you after, like, a big loss. And it really seemed like your aunt just wanted to blame you instead of going to therapy and processing the death of her sister. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, and I hope you cut her off and she never contacts you again. Okay, our next story is from I Am Vital. People's stories are far worse than mine, but I suppose everyone's pain feels heavy when it's your own. My dad left when I was 15 years old. I'm 30 now. 30 tomorrow, actually. And there hasn't been a single day I haven't thought about him. I wonder why I wasn't good enough. Every big birthday, I think, maybe this year he'll reach out. Maybe this time, he'll send a card or call. Every time, I feel stupid. At my 21st birthday, I told myself I wouldn't do it anymore. I wouldn't wait for him. I wouldn't think about it. But here I am, turning 30, still hoping. Still waiting for that knock on the door. I've tried every avenue to find him, but he made sure it'd be impossible. It's affected every part of my life in ways I didn't even realize until recently. If I ever have a child someday, I just hope I'd be good enough to be a father, because honestly, I have no idea what it means. Some days I spend hours thinking about ending this whole thing, just ending it. Dude, my heart breaks for you. I'm so sorry. I know there's a lot of people who can relate to you on that fact, and you're not alone. I think you would be an amazing father. I think you would be a great parent because you can actually sit back and think about your actions and think about other actions that have affected you. And in that way, you've learned. You may not think it, but in the back of your mind, there are things that you know you would never do to your child or that you would never abandon them. I think you should keep pushing, and I think you should stop blaming yourself for it because that man made his choice and he left you, and you may or may not ever know the reason why, but all you can do now is focus on yourself, and if you do become a father, focus on your child. Alright, so our next story is from Skeleton07. When I was a kid, my mom and my dad weren't very well off. One day, my great-grandfather got terminally ill. My aunt, who was taking care of him at the time, couldn't afford to put him in the nursing home. My mom, being a licensed nurse, agreed to take care of him if they could use some of his life insurance money to pay a 1-year lease for the house that they'd care for him in. My parents took amazing care of him. They made sure he was comfortable, clean, safe, right up until 2 months later when he passed away. And then my great aunt decided to go back on the deal. She and her husband wanted to move to Florida with their son, and suddenly that agreement didn't matter anymore. My parents had already signed the lease. When my great aunt pulled the plug, we lost everything. We went homeless. We lived in hotels for a while until my parents lost custody of me and my sisters. We've been living with our grandparents ever since. I wasn't told the full story until I was 15. I'm 16 now, and I still live with my grandparents. Wow. What is it with these aunties? I cannot. This is actually heartbreaking. How can you take from your sister or brother and your child, literally make a child homeless? If you put everything past, maybe she didn't have the best relationship with her sister or brother. I don't know which one of the child's parents or the Redditor's parents was related to the aunt, but besides all that, how are you going to take a home away from a child? That is the most horrible thing you could do, is throwing a child out on the street. I am so grateful that your grandparents took you guys in, and trust me, she will get what's coming to her. This next story is from Minto. I dated a woman for a while and eventually got involved with her teenage kids. I acted as a step-parent for years. I invested so much of myself into that family. My time, my energy, my resources, everything. Then, my girlfriend fell into a deep depression. She didn't want to talk about anything, didn't want to do anything. Life went on around her, and when she saw me spending time with the kids, instead of sitting silently behind her on the couch, she became pathologically jealous. She started accusing me of having too much interest in young girls. I spent so long trying to fix things, trying to make sense of it all. I paid for counseling out of my own pocket, for us as a couple, and later for her alone, when the therapist determined I wasn't the problem. But she never took responsibility, never once acknowledged what she had done. She thought she could just brush it off, as if she'd accused me of something trivial, like leaving the toilet seat up. She never faced her childhood trauma either, even though it affected every moment of her life. She'd bring it up as an excuse for her behavior. Then, she'd pretend it didn't exist when it suited her. Eventually, I had to walk away. It broke me too, but I had to. I started dating someone else, a college debate coach with a PhD in English. Night and day difference in communication. And yet, my ex acted like I had abandoned her. She even cheated after I finally left. I feel bad for you, and I feel even worse for her children. They have an extremely dysfunctional mother, and low-key she gives narcissist vibes. She wants to throw her childhood trauma out on a pedestal for everyone to look at and feel sorry for her for. But then when she's done doing that, she takes it back and acts like she's just over it and she's this better person. And I wouldn't be surprised one day if her children stopped coming around once they grow up. Our next story is from Awkward Sarah. I was in a relationship with a girl. Let's call her Jen. We had been together for nearly 2 years. But one day, I started to notice something was off. Her behavior changed. She was distant, quiet, and different. I asked if she was okay, if I could help her, make her feel better or something. She kept saying everything was fine. For about a month, she had pretended. Then one day, she told me she wanted to separate. No clear reason, just the classic, it's not you, it's me. The next day, I found out the truth. She posted on Facebook, bragging about how happy she was with the man she had been cheating on me with for over a month, as if she was proud of it. That was the moment I stopped caring. I blocked her number, blocked her on social media, and erased her from my life completely. I pretended she never existed. Why do people have the audacity to do that? You wait an entire month while cheating on your significant other, and then you gloat about it. Okay, so our last story today is from Eastward Darts. Near the end of my failing marriage, our third marriage counselor asked us what was standing in the way of things getting better. I said, I just need to understand why. When I ask you to say kind words about me, you refuse to do it. Because there was a time when I begged him to say something good about me, and his response was, I can't. There were other issues, sure. His refusal to take on any adult responsibility, breaking every agreement we had. No intimacy, no partnership. But that part, the cruelty of not saying something kind, that's what I couldn't comprehend. It took forever to get an answer out of him, but when he finally spoke, he said, "During our marriage, I've always been aware of the power dynamics between us. I see you as strong and me as weak. So when you ask me to do something, I don't do it. It makes me feel strong to see you get upset and cry. Also, in any relationship, the one who wants it least has the most power." That explained everything. And it never occurred to me that someone could think like that, that someone could be that cruel, because I'm not a selfish, manipulative sadist. I gave my life to that man, had his children, worked my butt off for our family, carried the load, because if I didn't, nothing got done. And this is how he valued me? This was how he saw our marriage? I wasted nearly 25 years of my life on that man, years I'll never get back. Our shared parenting responsibilities will soon be over, and I look forward to the day I never have to see his lonesome, smug face again, and I hope he rots in his own emptiness. Yes, I hope he rots as well. I also think he's very, stupid, because why does there have to be a power dynamic between you and your partner? You guys are supposed to be there for each other equally. Everybody does their part in the relationship. That's what's important here. When you truly nurture a relationship, there's no competition, there's no jealousy, there's no power struggle or power dynamic. It's just you being you with the love of your life. Each person has their weaknesses and strengths, and when you come together, you balance those out between each other. I hope that once you're done with taking care of your children together, that you go and have the best time of your life, girl. You better have the best time of your life. I am holding you to it. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the last story or any of the stories I told in this video. If you'd like to hit that subscribe button and like this video, it would help me out tremendously. Besides that, I hope you have a blessed night. Mimi out.